Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the final trailer for Disclosure Day has dropped. I've seen it one time, but not enough times to analyze it. We're going to analyze it together here on the show. Get ready. Wow, this trailer is something. The last decade, I would say. But I've been preaching about this coming. And I think most students of prophecy knew that one of the final things that was going to happen in the end times was the alien and UFO disclosure was going to play into Matthew 24, where it talks about the great deception that would deceive the very elect if possible. Well, y'all, movies have always been a part of programming. We call it predictive programming. You've heard about it for years. TVs, TV series, X-Files, Stargate. Is that what it's Stargate, SG-1, something like that. The series V, the miniseries V, we talk a lot about is very, very predictive program when it comes to the alien narrative that was going to eventually come out. And then all the movies, you go back in Steven Spielberg's career, you go back to Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Of course, that was one of the first movies of the modern era. Believe it or not, I just heard him say this. You talk about you don't really feel old. If you remember when it first came out, he said, I started writing it almost 50 years ago. Is that even possible? That's what he said. He said he started writing it 50 years ago. Came out in the 70s, which is insane to even think about. But that began to really shape our image of what we would think about aliens being sort of a benevolent, kind elder brother type thing. You know, it all really started with War of the Worlds way back in the radio days and you know, bringing it all the way up to here. But in our modern life, Close Encounters of the Third Kind was the beginning. And then, of course, we got shaped a little bit different with E.T., made him feel like he's just this warm and fuzzy little cute little alien from another planet, just, you know, got left behind and, you know, phoned home. And then, of course, Steven Spielberg also did a remake of War of the Worlds, which was out of that narrative that they were benevolent. They were the enemies. They were here to take us out. And, you know, he's revealed in interviews, and I think we're probably going to show this in part of the interview on the program today, where he says that was actually, I'd never heard him say this before, a response to 9/11. What? Yeah, that's what he said. He said, the reason I made War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise is a response to, and it was sort of a type and shadow of 9/11. Crazy. Well, then you fast forward to here he is towards, you know, he's getting on up there in age. You know, I hope he lives a long life, a little bit longer than what he's lived, but this is sort of his swan song. He comes out of quasi-retirement to do this movie called Disclosure Day. And he, you know, dropped the first two trailers and they were intense in themselves. But then the final trailer just dropped and we're going to show it to you. But in addition to that, he's making the rounds of the interview rounds, which is not really like him to talk about a movie like he's talking about it. And he showed up at South by Southwest movie convention. And it's coming out now that one of the things he said was at the convention openly, he said, you know, we are not alone. And some have said that he even alluded to the fact that they are walking among us. Well, without further ado, let's get into this trailer. And then we're going to show you a little bit of that interview of him and one of his co-stars talking about the importance of this movie in the grand scheme of the actual disclosure. Now, you know how this goes. We've done this before. We will stop and analyze it as we go forth. If that bothers you, then, you know, just go watch the trailer for yourself. Don't watch this, but this is what we do. This is called a reaction. So let's listen to what the, you know, Emily Blunt here. Wow.
I can see you.
Now, right off the bat, I'm going to stop it. There's a very interesting thing with these animals, especially this stag, this buck, that you're going to want to pay close attention towards the end. And it wasn't revealed in the first two trailers. We've stopped it before. This is part of the movie. It's going to be black and white, looking back on Roswell, July 8th. And 79 years ago. And look what it says. Roswell, New Mexico, 509 BGRAAF, number 5 occupant. Remember when Roswell happened and the original narrative came out, they said that they had a craft on day one with occupants in it. So, and by the way, do you ever remember a trailer, an official trailer by Steven Spielberg, or for any producer, director for that matter, but especially Steven Spielberg, where he inserts his commentary in the actual trailer?
Much more. This is a story about us.
You already said, Spielberg's still talking. Y'all, it's unprecedented that he's narrating the final trailer. This is a story about us. About us. Where have you heard that before? You heard me talk about it over and over again, that when the alien narrative comes out, it's not going to necessarily be about the aliens as much as it's going to be about the aliens and us, and where we line up with them and where they line up with us, and what did they have to do with our origin.
All of us.
Good morning, Kansas.
All of us. I'm going back. Extraordinary event in human history. Do you agree? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know in the comment section. If their disclosure fully comes out, I mean, I'm talking about full disclosure, and they say, not only are we not alone, but they tie our origin, our existence to that disclosure, is that the most consequential event in human history when it comes to us? I think in some ways it is, but not defining us, but drawing the line in the biblical versus their narrative. So right off the bat, we see, different than the first two trailers, we see that there is a connection. You're going to see that there's an even more intense connection between Emily Blunt and, can't think of this guy's name here, the two main guys. He's stolen secrets. Also remember, I don't think it's in this trailer, but I want to remind you that in the first two trailers, at least one of the first two trailers, he says all 7 billion people in the world deserve to know the truth. Well, according to the government and the narrative out there, if you believe them, in 2022, we went over 8 billion. So what happened to 1 billion people? It is, one of the theories is that they're going to say, whether this is true or not, that 1 billion of the 8 billion are actually aliens walking among us. Just remember, I know it's a movie, but listen to me. It's not just a movie. This is called a movie, made by a movie studio. This is not just a movie. Now, remember what Colin Firth, I think his name is, the actor, he just said, the world cannot handle what we know. What do they know? Okay, y'all, I'm telling you, go watch the whole trailer yourself. But this is the scene where it really ramps it up. Something bigger out there than just ourselves. Well, you and I both know that. It's Jesus Christ. It's God. It's the Bible. But that's not what this narrative is. And notice what he says, how will disclosure change us? He doesn't say, how would this movie change us? He says, how will disclosure change us? So he's speaking in terms that are beyond cinema. Okay. I'm going to back it up. But I'm pretty sure he says, the only way to know our purpose is to go back to where it began. Where have you heard that before? Dare I say, right here? And on this program? Little validation is coming for those that have been awake. This is creepy. So we see in the trailer there, the reveal is that what it looks like is the two kids that we kept seeing that we thought were separate kids are actually the two main characters that were abducted. Looks like when they were kids. You see the alien hand come up from the bottom holding their face, and then some type of device goes over them right on the tail of the only way to know your purpose is to go back to where it began. And the scene that looks sort of like Adam and God is actually both of them. Okay, wow. I used to think, what if all of this could one day turn out to be true? Now I wonder, what are people going to think, or what is it going to be like when they find out that it is true? And then the big reveal at the end, and this is crazy. I'm looking forward to seeing how they do this in the movie. This is why you see the stag. Watch the stag trans into the actual alien. Basically implying that maybe they've taken the form of animals among us as well. I don't know, man. I've never seen that narrative. Oh my goodness. All right, right off the bat, comment section, live chat. What in the world do you think? Okay, y'all, if y'all like me, you're feeling a little weird right now because that was creepy. And I understand some of you are going to stay away from it because you don't want any kind of demonic activity. I get it. I'm going to be pleading the blood, and I got to go in there. First of all, I like a good movie. I'm just been telling you right now it's going to be a good movie. But we ain't going in there to watch a good movie. We're going in there to get research because, y'all, Steven Spielberg was read in. There's no doubt in my mind that I say there's no doubt in my mind. I can't prove it, but in my gut, I got a strong feeling that he's a part of all of this. There is just no way. There's no way. Come on, do you not agree? There's no way that this movie just happened to drop right after 2 or 3 different drops of file drops and video drops from so-called Disclosure. And the rumor is that once we get through the 250th anniversary of our country, that we're going to get a speech from Donald Trump, that we're not alone. Wow. All right, let's look at a little bit of this interview here where, what is his name? Coleman Domingo is the other star with Steven Spielberg. And it doesn't really have a lot of reveals in it, but it's interesting how they talk about this movie. They're not talking about it like it's just, this is a great movie that I'm proud of. They're talking about it as a moment in history.
The movie is like, what I can't say is the movie doesn't stop until it stops. It comes out of the gate really fast and it just keeps moving.
This 79-year terror campaign of lies has to end.
What are you gonna do?
Full disclosure to the whole world.
That truth will upend all established order across the entire world. If you do this, there's no undoing it.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jacqueline Coley, and I welcome you all to the big ticket interview for Disclosure Day. I'm here with Mr. Steven Spielberg and Coleman Domingo. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So excited for this movie. Listen, I've been a fan of your filmography for forever, and I think it's crazy to think it's been a while since you've gone back into sci-fi, aliens, and invasion. So I'd love to hear what was the lightning spark. What sort of made you say this is the time to, I don't know, go back to it?
Well, when I was making Close Encounters, which is 50 years ago.
Don't say that.
50 years ago is when we were filming, and it came out in 1977. So when I was making that film, I did a lot of research, and I really got to the edge of really believing that something was happening in our skies that we weren't being told about. But the imaginative part of Close Encounters kind of captured me, and I wrote it from my heart. It was sort of a wish fulfillment story, hoping that maybe a little bit of what I'm talking about in this picture might be true, but wasn't sure back then. And then 50 years goes by, and I made Disclosure Day because I really believe that things that I was only hoping were true back then are things that are actually happening now, today.
Are you listening to this? 50 years. 50 years. And he's saying the things that I was hoping would be true are actually happening among us. And he said, I made the movie. Did you hear what he said? Because of that.
No, I saw your talk at South by Southwest that set the internet alight where you said they're among us. I mean, look, I do feel like they're all around us.
So she just sort of dropped something there. I don't know if she was supposed to say it or not, but she said at South by Southwest movie convention that he said they're among us. They're walking among us. They're here.
I mean, you can't not feel it when you see Artemis 2 and all of that stuff. And I feel like your character, Coleman, is probably the person that's like maybe saying that we didn't go up there. Like, I don't know what your character is, but he definitely seems to be somebody interested in the truth and doesn't believe the truth is being told. So I'd love for you to tell us more about him.
Listen, I'll tell you what I believe is interesting about him. He has a lot of faith.
Let's fast forward.
He in many ways to figure out what is best for us. as
Company is your somebody that
we started,
The reason I fast forward is he really didn't say much there.
Stephen was sharing a lot of documentary things with me, interviews, people who have been really out there, whether they had experiences or whether they've been working with people who've had experiences. So for me, it's downloading a lot of information to make some assessments for myself. What do I believe as well? Were people lying or are they telling the truth? Because there are many, many different ways to unpack this information. And when you look at, there's many, many observations that's been done on groups of people, whole towns that have had visitations in many ways. And it's been debunked in many ways, sometimes by authorities. But I feel like it's really about grappling with the truth and really just to take everyone's experience as being sincere and not, trying to manipulate it in some way, shape, or form. Because I think people are trying to control whether or not we have had these experiences or not.
I love it. I'm not even asking, what's his name?
It's really an experience. It's an experience to turn yourselves over to us and
You can tell me?
Well, I think the thing.
Listen to this. Turn yourself over to us.
About Disclosure Day is it's really an experience. It's an experience to turn yourselves over to us and allow us to present you with not just the facts as we see them, but also with a great deal of momentum, velocity, speed, entertainment, because it's a real combination. The movie doesn't stop until it stops. When it comes out of the gate really fast and it just keeps moving. And a lot of things happen along the way. And there's a lot of revelations and there's a lot of emotion. And you're really going to feel something when you get into the story.
Okay, you feel things when you watch movies. But I don't think he's hyping it up just to feel like a normal movie. He says there's revelations. Okay, could he mean, there's just plot twists? Of course. But I think it's more than that. I think he's speaking all kinds of code here.
So I don't like to say too much because I do believe this really is an experience movie, as opposed to a film where I could just say, here's how it starts, this is what happens in the middle, here's where it comes out at the end. But it's something where every moment has something that's going to lift you a little further, a little higher in your belief structure. And if you're not really inclined to believe any of this, at least it's going to take you to the end of this journey in a way that's going to pop your eyes out and make your heart beat real fast.
I don't even know how to respond to this because this is very obvious to me. Very obvious. I think it's very obvious to many of you. It's going to, what did he say? Elevate your belief system. It's going to affect your belief system. But what have we been saying on this channel? That the purpose of disclosure is not the truth. The purpose of disclosure is deception. Now, there's people on my side, and there's people on even the church side that would get upset for me saying that because they want to know the truth. Well, I want to know the truth. I want to come on, lay it on the line. Everything you got, show it to us. Because I'm not looking at it through a window and a view of are we alone or not. I'm looking at it through a Matthew 24 view. How are you seeing it? This is a part of the Great Deception.
Oh, I dig that.
And I think the beautiful thing of what Stephen has created with this film is that there are many people that you can identify yourself with. You can find yourself in the story, and then you'll be challenged because I feel like that's the nature of it. With this experience that will happen, you have to transform in some way or have to.
The code words. They continue to say, they don't hardly ever say entertain. They don't hardly ever say you're going to enjoy. They keep saying it's an experience. And you just heard him say you will be transformed. We've already heard them say your belief system will be elevated. And even if you don't believe in any of it, we're asking you to be at least open to something.
Rethink what you know.
Rethink what you know.
And I think that's the most beautiful thing.
Wow, I got so much from the trailer, but I didn't get any of this. I feel like I would take 3 or 4 watchings to really understand the tone of what you're going for in this film. Like I'm already intrigued about the fact that I feel it's so layered. Maybe can you tell us of your previous films which tone it leans into? I mean, like E.T. was very hopeful, and maybe even Close Encounters, but then something like War of the Worlds feels more...
Well, War of the Worlds was a very dark movie. It was less my interest in invasion from out there, and more a reaction to 9/11. It was much more of a metaphor for 9/11. And I also love the original, H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds book.
That's very
which
interesting.
I read many times as a young person. But it doesn't have any relevance to this. And E.T. is its own beautiful, small story about a family after a divorce, and all these kids' lives that they suddenly, their needs are filled by this very special visitor that comes to them one night. And Close Encounters is more operatic. But this movie is much more like the reality that we all experience today. I don't make a lot of contemporary movies about today. I've done a lot of period films. I've done Minority Report takes place in the future, as does Ready Player One. I don't settle on the present very often, but we needed the present tense. That was the essential part of our creating, hopefully, a belief system that the audience will say, "Oh my God, this is here. This is happening."
Oh, man.
To me, this interview is more intriguing than even the trailer. He's like, we needed a present tense movie, not a future, this could be one day. No, we needed to reflect the world that we are in right now and what is happening. And he goes back again to, hopefully this will affect your belief system. Wow. Steven Spielberg. Our good friend L.A. Marzulli, been on the program many times. He's been talking about this forever. Steven Spielberg is stepping back into the world of extraterrestrials with a bold claim that is already raising serious questions about truth, deception, and what may be coming next. Speaking at CinemaCon in Las Vegas, Steven Spielberg described his upcoming film Disclosure Day as something far beyond science fiction. Quote, "I really, truly believe this movie is going to answer questions." Does that sound like a movie that's just a fictional plot? No. Going to answer questions, Steven Spielberg said. And this movie is also going to cause you to ask a lot of questions. As reported to Reuters, he emphasized that unlike his earlier work, this project leans closer to reality. His 1977 classic Close Encounters of the Third Kind was speculation. But Disclosure Day is more truth than fiction. That's in quotes. He added a warning to audiences about the intensity of what they're about to see. Quote, "All you need to get from the beginning to the end is a seatbelt." Wow. Spielberg revealed that the film was inspired in part by a 2017 New York Times report detailing encounters between U.S. military pilots and unidentified flying objects. The project is positioned as a cinematic exploration of disclosure, the long-discussed unveiling of information surrounding UFOs and non-human intelligence. L.A. Marzulli points directly to the film's influence on culture and belief systems. He says, "This is the coming great deception." Marzulli continues, "This changes everything." He argues that productions like Disclosure Day are not neutral storytelling, but part of a coordinated effort to prepare the world for a false narrative about the origin and nature of these entities. I would go so far as to say the origin and the nature of humanity is what they're going to try to spin. It's always been an attack against the Creator. Let me be very clear. We were not seeded here by aliens, but that's what they're going to try to say. They're going to try to say that they are our elder brothers, whatever. There's even a narrative going out there right now that the aliens are actually humans that have evolved, and they're time traveling from 500,000 years in the future to come back and make sure that we stay on course so that their eventual existence is not threatened. Central to Marzulli's warning is the identity of what the world calls aliens. In his view, the film itself hints at the truth. Are they people? One character asks in the trailer. The answer, he insists, is clear: no, because they're not people. They're hybrids. Marzulli connects this directly to the biblical account of the Nephilim, describing them as offspring of fallen angels and human women. He ties this to the words of Jesus Christ, who warned that the last days would mirror the conditions before the flood. The return of hybrid beings, the corruption of humanity, and the blurring of natural order all point to that prophetic framework. The film's imagery, including altered reality, possession-like behavior, and the suspension of natural laws, reinforces that interpretation. Y'all, this is going to be a game changer. I believe this movie is going to shift not only culture, it is a movie that is intended really to shift the thinking of who we are, where we came from, what is our origin. This will not only challenge, first and foremost, those that have a biblical worldview, but I think this is also going to even challenge those that don't have a biblical worldview, that have a Darwinism worldview, that we evolved from some kind of amoeba in some kind of weird soupy pond somewhere hundreds of billions and trillions of years ago. I think it's going to be more than that. And I cover it, y'all. It's one of the opening things in the Final Flood. I talk about the alien narrative that's coming. It's in this book. And we talk about in the Great Deception. That's part of the Great Deception. Signs in the heavens and the earth beneath. Men's hearts will fail them. Great deception, strong delusion, great falling away. It's all in the book. You can get your copy, thefinalflood.com. You can scan the QR code behind you. Either way, go and get you a copy of the book and get equipped, because we deal with it. So let me know in the comment section, what do you think about the final trailer? Tell me if you're going to go see the movie or not. Don't judge me, because I'm going to see the movie. And we will give a full report unashamedly. I know that, some people say, why are you supporting the demonic narrative? I'm not supporting the demonic narrative. My job is a watchman. I am a pastor first and foremost. Understand that. Okay. But part of the assignment that I have is to come on this channel and be a watchman for the viewers here, to make sure that we analyze what the enemy is trying to do to deceive us. Matthew 24, Jesus said, see that you be not deceived. It's going to be a great deception that is possible would deceive the very elect. It's the days of Noah. It's what the final flood is all about. That's why we are not afraid to cover it. So what did you think about the trailer? Go watch the full trailer for yourself. I know you didn't get a chance to watch. I had a lot of breaks in it. I had to do that to break it down. That's what this is. But let me know. Let me know what you think in the live chat. See you next time.